We're going to watch a little bit of Seinfeld, not to show you behind the curtain, but I did just show Ivan a terrifying scene from Threads, 1984, so we got to do something. So let's just have a look at this one, see what we think.
An apartment warming gift? We gotta give presents to people for moving? It's birthdays, Christmas, it's enough gifts. I would like 1 month off.
Kramer said it's a perfect gift. That's what we're getting them.
All right, but we're not buying it at Bloomingdale's. I will buy it, you pay me back later. I'll sniff out a deal. I have a sixth sense.
Cheapness is not a sense.
Hey, look at this. This is the same massage chair we're getting for Joe Mayo.
This is quite late
Except
in the
it's still
Seinfeld
from
run.
Delaware.
Is this after Larry's gone?
Yeah.
Cheapness is a sense. You know, it is better without this big wallet. It's more comfortable.
It doesn't matter if it's more comfortable. It's wrong.
You know what hurts me the most?
Because
Watching
important things
Seinfeld
go
and
in a
especially
case.
Curb, when I agree with George and Larry David, when I
Plastic
fully
sleeve
agree with
with
them, and it's like,
and
oh
a
my god.
wallet for your money.
That I don't agree with though. I do keep a thin wallet.
I used to have one like that.
It's huge. You got more cow here than here.
I need everything in there.
Irish money.
I might go there.
Show this card at any participating Orlando area Exxon station to get your free Save the Tiger poster.
That's such a long bit, but good.
But also starting with Irish money.
Yes, Irish money.
Did you get the chair?
No, I don't have it yet.
So we're giving him nothing?
Oh, I brought a picture of the chair.
Did you at least get him a card?
I thought we'd all sign the picture. My back is killing me.
Of course, because of that wallet. You got a filing cabinet under half of your ass.
This is an organizer, a secretary, and a friend.
Look at you. You're on a slant.
Pick up on napkins. Yeah. Yeah, I'm fine.
What was that?
I think I had some hard candy in there.
That becomes a recurring, the hard
Supposed to
candy.
go to Joe Mayo's apartment. How does this thing work?
Typical Seinfeld names, Joe
Do you
Mayo.
want to
Mayo.
deliver this chair to your friend's place or not?
George buy Joe Mayo that chair yet?
I don't know.
If I'm getting him a new fur, I'm not chipping in on a gift, too.
Hey, George, did you get Joe Mayo that chair yet?
Not to be a pig man, but these are the seasons when Julia Louis-Dreyfus is looking great.
What?
She put...
Well, they stopped doing the wall hair
Oh, the hair, yeah.
and the big floppy clothes. Well, everyone was wearing floppy
Yes,
clothes.
the 90s
So what? You
dress,
get the deal, right? Let's
sundresses.
put it 3 ways.
All right.
What is that noise?
That's my toaster. I gotta go.
You know, sometimes I get the feeling George isn't being completely honest with me.
Gets here when it gets you. Would you stop riding me?
You know what? Just call up and cancel it. I'm out.
Excuse me?
Joe Mayo doesn't like my taste in music. He's not getting a gift from me.
Oh, I can't believe you're dropping out too. So now Kramer and I have to pay for the entire gift.
Whoa, now who's this Joe Mayo everyone's talking about?
He's the guy we're buying the chair for, remember? It was your suggestion.
I think the chair is a fantastic gift idea, but I never heard of this Joe Mayo. And frankly, it sounds made up.
It does sound made up.
I have to buy the whole chair for myself.
Ah, you don't have to buy anything.
I already bought it. I've been lying to you for 3 days and now you're all screwing me.
I don't understand. Why didn't you tell us you had it?
I needed it. My back is a little tweaked.
Because of your giant wallet. Just get rid of it.
Never. It is a part of me. I will just return the chair, and it will be easy because the receipt is in my good friend.
Your good friend is morbidly obese.
Good car. First
Can't say that these days.
Great physical comedy, like poof.
Well, I mean, they had, like it was great writing, great performances, but also great slapstick as well.
Yes.
Right? Yeah. Like it was advertised at the time as a show about nothing. That's horseshit.
Yeah.
There's so much in
There's
it.
so much. Look, how far into the weeds do we get here? I suppose this is late Seinfeld. Larry David's not around. You can tell. I can tell by the way it looks. You obviously can tell by the characters. Like you just got to be real about it. Like Jason Alexander's a bit bigger.
A bit bigger.
Julia Louis-Dreyfus is she's just gone through her look is completely different. That look is around season 7 or something, that golden era of Larry David. She was starting to get that sort of look when she worked with Peterman.
Yeah.
J. Peterman catalogue. But I read this great book on it called Seinfeldia. It's got some stupid name like that, but it's a great book. Goes through the entire, series and the production history and all of that, and it details the situation. Larry leaving, Jerry takes over as producer. So I had no idea how young the writing staff were increasingly.
Yeah, right.
They were quite, and that's why.
Did they keep getting younger people?
Well, it happened that way on Friends, but there's something very comic booky and young about the post Larry era.
It starts getting more silly.
It is very silly, and so which I guess is a testament to Larry's genius. Is that his concerns are so particular. We like to hear his ideas filtered through Jerry, and when it's Jerry alone, it's still good. There's still a bunch of very iconic bits, like "had a wallet for your money," like that. That's iconic, and frankly, it sounds made up. I always think about that.
Yeah.
And that image of it blowing open. There's a few things in there. I always I love that reaction of the like that. To me is ultimate Seinfeld. You know what I mean? Like it's just so. I don't want to say over the top, but so set up, like he's really putting it on and in just the right way. I don't know. What did you think?
I mean, well, the thing about it becoming a little bit sillier in the later seasons makes it more watchable for me now, because I've got trouble watching Curb because, now being middle-aged and having more responsibilities and more gripes and more annoyances, it's too hard for me to watch Curb. Like I get too much anxiety, I get too much anger. Like I keep thinking about being in these situations in real life, so it just kind of weighs on me too much. I'm not laughing like I used to. So some of this sillier stuff later, I'm like, yeah, big wallet, I can laugh about that.
I'm not laughing like I used to. Think about that statement. I'm not laughing like I used to.
That's what happens, kids. You get older and you don't laugh as much.
Yes, it's true.
Because
so you want the silly
real
stuff. You want the the Kenny Rogers roasters, Mr. Marbles.
It's definitely more watchable as these days as to go back. But then some of the truly kind of depressing scene, even I don't know, having when because George was with Susan and getting their parents to meet for the first time, and they had that horrible dinner, and then they took back the marble rye.
The marble rye.
And I'm like, oh God, that was just hilarious to me before. But then when you're in a situation where you're trying to introduce your parents to other parents, and you have your parents are now old enough to do these horrible childish things, and you got to deal with it, and you go, oh God, and you can almost imagine yourself in that situation. Whereas when you're in your 20s, that's not happened. That's so far outside your everyday life. You don't put yourself in that. You don't empathize with George, so you just laugh at him.
But what's so weird about Seinfeld is the fact that they were doing it. I guess I go by Jerry's age. It's hard to gauge the others, but by the end, he's well into his 40s.
Yeah, well, even on that one, you can his hairline is.
Well, the hair's one thing, but think about it. No wife, no kids. I don't want to sound like Leave It to Beaver Man.
Yeah.
the Brady Bunch or something. But that's a normal thing for people. I mean, look at him now. He's a family man now. He just did it a little bit later. But it's something so strange about seeing them get so old and be behaving like such fools.
Yeah. He mentioned that on Comedians in Cars.
Oh yeah, right.
I'm not sure with who they were talking, who he was talking with, but basically someone asked him, because he left when he was on top. They were still number
huge,
one.
yeah, number one, yeah.
And it's like, why did you leave there? And he, I think the time was right, but also, like, it was a very specific show about single, reasonably young people in New York. And he said, I didn't want to do the episode where we're doing Kramer's 50th birthday. And you go, oh yeah, that would be
they've got that great sketch where Jerry thinks about the future, and he's got the grey hair, and Kramer's going, periscopes in cars, and he goes, it's a stupid idea, you're a stupid man, and they're old, and that's very funny. Like, just he's brought it into the show itself.
But that's what it would have turned into if they kept going.
Well, interestingly, I read this about Friends. Maybe we should cover it if we do some Friends stuff. But Friends is a show about people in their 20s in New York, but it's also it's the people who made the show remembering, because they weren't young when they made the show. They were getting towards middle age-ish or up there. And so they had famously a lot of young people working on them, but it was their recollections of what it was like to be young in the 80s in the city. So Seinfeld's the same. Like, this is a time in Jerry's life when him and Kenny Kramer, the real Kramer, were living in rent-controlled apartments, and Larry David was around in the 80s. So it's sort of this weird 80s, 90s New York meld.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, it's their recollections. I mean, there's a lot of ideas in the show. It's not just about ordering Chinese takeout and the things I'm sure that would have happened to them on the comedy circuit and stuff like that. You get a lot of ideas, like, what this pitch is clearly someone's gone to Jerry and gone, either I or someone I know has got a fat wallet. It's got everything they own in this wallet. Started that, and they've had to offer a 1, 2, 3 pitch for it. But yeah, it's just a strange thing, I guess I never really thought about it, about what the show is, or when it, who wrote it, who it's for, any of that stuff. It just sort of washes over you in that first run.
Well, also because it's so great. Like, you get invested in the characters, you're laughing with it, so there's no need to kind of think about those, like, going that many layers deep into it to think about the making of it from behind the scenes so much.
I would just say, maybe the last thing I have to say is that it is tough to watch a fighter who doesn't quite have it anymore. It's still very good, you know what I mean? Like, they were still all very, very good, but because they were the greatest show, it's one of the greatest shows ever made, and at this time it was still one of the greatest shows, but they're slipping. You know what I mean?
It's a little past the prime.
It's past the prime. Like there's people you can just tell, like, there was a moment, basically right up to when Susan dies.
Yeah.
Like, they are just on fire. It's like Sick Boy says in Trainspotting, first you have it, then you lose it, and they had it.
Yeah.
They all had it. Larry David had it. Jerry Seinfeld had it. They all had it. They were at the top of their game. Like, and then we start getting, it's just a little bit silly, a little bit forced. Like, even Jason Alexander's acting here, it's not, he just seems so different to the George of a couple of seasons earlier.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's something different, something off. He doesn't seem like as natural or lived in.
No, it's definitely a bit more theatrical and over the top. And as you said, that reaction of like, So, I mean, in certain situations, it's great. And, it's a bit silly and a bit more over the top and a bit more theatrical. But then it's missing that other layer. So, like a really good example for me is the episode where they go to India for the wedding.
Oh my God, I almost put that clip on today to do. Terrible. That's a terrible episode.
But I also don't remember watching that one back in the day.
Yes.
In the 90s
you were
on
out,
TV.
Right? Or it just was not.
I don't think it's one they played very often here in Australia.
It was very late.
Yeah, it was very
8 or 9.
It was like the last, I think it might have been the last season, like towards the end. And it's,
God, it's terrible.
It's a silly episode. And I remember watching it, like I saw it for the first time maybe 5 years ago. And I'm just like, Oh, really? Like, that did not seem like a Seinfeld episode. Like,
No.
they really slipped on that one.
Well, they were starting to get a lot more money. They had access to way more sets, and they just were just overthinking it. You get, I mean, like, I can only imagine what it would be like to have done so much. 180 episodes, most of which are brilliant.
But also, as you said, coming at it from a completely different place to where they started.
Yes.
So when they first started, they would have been reasonably penniless. As you said, living in these rent-controlled apartments next to a guy called Kramer. But then by season 9, they would have all been multi-millionaires.
They were getting like $1 million an episode easily.
So that,
Multi.
you know, the well of experiences that you can draw from is very different. So there is no more a whole episode waiting in a Chinese restaurant to get a table. That's not happening to them
Well,
anymore.
they've burned out like all of their stories. You know, like, you know, you've started to become unrelatable, completely unrelatable.
But also so different from the original characters that you then you start, oh yeah, so what if you have to make things up based on nothing, as opposed to something a lot more grounded in a real person experience. So even I remember seeing an interview with Jason Alexander in the early days, talking about, someone would never do this. Who would do this to Larry David? And Larry saying, I did that.
Yes.
This happened to me. So there's so much like more of a grounding in that in the early seasons. So the only way they could have been so relatable to the people behind the scenes is if the show Jerry did get picked up and they become rich, and then
The plot,
completely different.
The
story.
only plots that I think hang together in those very late seasons are the ones involving Jerry and show business. So him and Kathy Griffin.
Yes, because that happened.
That happened, you know, and so things like that, you go, oh yeah. Anything when it's Jerry getting bumped from shows, or all of that stuff, you go, oh yeah, fair enough. But when some of this stuff, anyway, I could talk all day about it. But I think the summary for me is, this is late, memorable, but there's something frustrating about it.
Yeah.